Welcome to Electric Lawn Talk. Each week, the electric lawn care professionals get together to talk about the electric lawn and landscape business and have some fun along the way. Whether you are in the business, thinking of getting started, or just want to hear the tips, tricks, struggles, and victories of the move to electric, you are in the right place. Let's get started.
Here we are, Electric Lawn Talk. Stephen here with EcoMow Lawn and Landscape out of Dallas, Texas. We got a big group tonight. Golly, we got a big group. We got a bunch of people in here. Dan Cienfuegos from Electron, Sandy with Electric Turf Pros, my man Jarmar with Peaceful Lawn down in Houston, Texas, Gerhart with Sustainable Lawn Care Services, Mr. Sean with Luminary Lawns up in Maryland, and William with SUST up in Maryland. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
How you doing? Good to see you guys.
Aloha.
Yeah, it's cool to see everybody. We're all kind of back in one room again. This is the first time there's been this many of us in here, and this is exciting. I think this is episode 21 for us. So we did pass the 20 episode mark. I want to just give us a big congratulations for that.
Let's go.
Yeah, we're still doing it. Guess what?
Yes, sir.
It's still happening. We got a lot going on. It's strange because it's kind of getting close to the end of the season, but for some reason, everybody seems to be just as busy as they were in the springtime. I've got a big announcement being here in Dallas. The Texas Rangers are World Series champions for the first time in franchise history. So we're on a big high here in this town. We've got big parade. I think that's happening here in the next couple of days. Yeah, super, super excited about it. So before we get going, since we've got everybody in the room, I know we all talk on Discord all the time. I'm curious, is there anything pressing that anyone wanted to discuss with somebody else?
Oh yeah. I got something I want to bring up. I couldn't make the last podcast. We were down at Equip down in Louisville, Kentucky, and I brought back an unwanted friend, my buddy COVID. So I missed the last episode, but I was giving it a listen, and at the very end, something caught my ear. My buddy Daniel over there just shouts out, "Sean is crazy." No context, nothing. Just Sean is crazy. And I gotta know, what did I do at Equip that got me that kind of recognition? I was in bed by like 9:30 every night. You know, I don't.
There is no way you're in bed at 9:30, man. Y'all wanted to stay out all night. We had to go to a special bar at a nighttime, man. You guys maybe go into
That's when you go to the bars. You go to the bars at nighttime.
It was a very uncomfortable bar. There was images looking at me that were very uncomfortable to be looking at. So
it was a unique bar. I will give you that.
No, but I think I would I'll take responsibility. Yeah, I might have not added some content to it. It's a good crazy. Just like the crazy stories, they're so funny and you're just so wild.
All right. My wife doesn't listen to this show. It's fine.
What Sean doesn't know is Dan, actually, there was about 5 minutes of content that Dan was talking about how crazy he was, and I actually cut that out, or we had that edited out to shorten.
I don't remember doing. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but I don't remember doing anything crazy.
Exactly.
I think wild is probably the better description.
Yeah, it's probably that. I mean, it's probably.
I remember I had Jake in my ear the whole time, going, "Are you working right now? Get off your phone."
See, he was being crazy. He was working.
All I was doing was working.
Can you believe that?
That's so
while
cool.
we're trying to shoot pool. Crazy guy, I tell you.
That's so cool, man. I'm glad you guys had a good time.
Oh yeah, it was great. It was great meeting him for sure.
It was a lot of fun.
His stories are still as wild on in real life and in Discord, so that's something cool.
It was good to finally meet a lot of you in person. So that was a lot of fun. I had a good time down there.
And then you brought COVID home with you.
I did. That was a blast. I was out for almost a whole week. I'm 2 weeks in, and I don't know. I'm still feeling. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice or not tonight, but I'm still feeling a little rough. But
Yeah, you kind of got your sexy voice on tonight.
oh,
Yeah. Yeah. No wonder the ladies are just circling around you right now. So here's what we're going to look at tonight. We've got, we're doing some purchasing, some equipment over the next few months. And what I'd like to get some input from you guys is pick two things. It could be it equipment, gear, vehicles, software, anything of that nature that you plan on investing in over the next few months and how that is going to help you get more done and ultimately make more money. Sean, I'm going to put you on the hot seat. What do you got your eyes on?
so right out of the gate, the biggest thing that I am going to be buying for next year is a Bluebird aerator. I've been, many of you have been following along. You probably know about Frank, our Frankensteinian aerator that we've been running for the past few years. When we first got started, there weren't any electric aerators on the market, and so we built our own. Frank did great. He was, I'm glad we had him. It definitely helped us get off the ground and provide a service that nobody else in the area could offer with electric aeration. But this year Frank started sparking a little bit too much out in the field for my liking, and so I hit up Gerhart. I knew he had one of the Bluebird aerators. He's not too far from me, and so a couple times this year I ran up and grabbed that from him and used that out in the field in our market. And the amount of time that I was able to save using that machine, I mean, it was half the width, but it could run about 3 to 4 times faster. So we were getting easily twice as many aerations done in the same amount of time as what we were doing with our homemade version of it. That's going to be incredibly impactful for our bottom line next year. Aeration's a very profitable service, and to be able to put out 2 to 3 times the amount of properties in the same amount of time is going to be a big deal for us.
Mm-hmm. Gerhart, you've had a Bluebird for quite a while, right? So what's your experience with it?
This is now 2 years, 2 aeration seasons. I love it. I do want to add a little side story from Sean from Equip. It's hilarious. So Sean, Jake, and I are at the Bluebird booth, and I'm talking to the rep who I spoke to last year. Just looking at the updated design of the machine, and I was like, "Hey, can I put these tines down?" And they're like, yeah, sure. So I put them down. It's on the floor, and I'm looking at the handle, and I'm like, it's wobbling, which is what mine has done forever, until the week I lent it to Sean. I got it back, and I pulled the tines. Went to go put the tines in the ground. So you put the handle down. It's usually wobbles, but it actually like snapped into place and was parallel with the handlebar there, and it just was silent. It wasn't wobbling around. And like when you're running that machine, that's literally all you hear is just that wobbling of the time release there. But mine didn't do that anymore. So like we're at Equip, and I'm like, I turned to Sean. I said, "Doesn't mine go all the way?" He right in front of the engineers. He goes, "Oh yeah, I made it better." It's like, what?
See, guys, just lend me your equipment. I'll fix it for you. I'll make it better.
So, Gerhart, do
Love
you
it.
notice that you guys can do a lot more? Do you have anything to compare it with, the Bluebird? Have you ever used anything else?
Yeah, I've used many Ryan's gas-powered machines, and it feels real. It's like the only piece of equipment that I have, and I'm like, this is a true commercial machine.
Yeah.
And I mean, well, I guess the steel equipment feels really commercial, but it just feels super heavy duty. And
It's beefy, and it works fantastic.
Yeah.
I was absolutely blown away. I mean, I know I've heard Gerhart raving about this thing for 2 years now, but once I put my hands on it and actually took it for a spin out in the field, there's no turning back.
That's awesome. How much are they? How much do they cost?
I don't know.
I think
Fully
they're about,
loaded is $5,000. Fully
yeah, I
loaded
think
with
it's
the
about
batteries for today.
3,800 for the machine itself, and then by the time you get enough batteries for it, because it uses 2 batteries at a time, and I think Gerhardt's got the perfect setup for it: 2 chargers, 5 batteries total, so you can just kind of always keep them in rotation. And I never ran out of batteries, and I was pushing it pretty hard with that setup.
So our good friend Gerhart lent it to us as well. We got it down here in Maryland. I got our hands on it, and I'll agree, it's not built any different. Which I think every manufacturer is trying to do the same, that has a legacy and has a heritage, is continue that but electrify it. They did have at this year's Equip. They rigged it up with a different power system with the Vanguard versus the 225 volt 2.5 amp hour battery. So there could be a different, and I'm not sure what that'll do to runtime one way or the other, but a lot more folks, and I think Vanguard was the biggest one, is trying to give you that ability to electrify those pieces of equipment, right? But I'm more piling on to say that thing's stout. I agree with you. And the companies that are able to take the legacy and heritage and something that you use, you you beat up when you need to use it, but you're not using it every single day. So it's got to be able to kind of perform and then sit and then do the same thing again. The manufacturers that are able to continue to do that, I think, are going to continue to take share or keep share as they electrify.
And talking to the engineer while we were up there, I think he said that the Vanguard battery that they put on there will have about twice the amount of runtime as a single of the previous generation batteries. So it'll be about the same, having one large battery on there versus 2 smaller ones.
It doesn't run simultaneous batteries. It'll just switch over, which I found extremely interesting because the runtime on it is pretty decent on just one single battery, and it's only 2.5 amp. So I mean, it's a very impressive machine, especially for what it's doing. I mean, I couldn't tell you the amount of things I've aerated that wasn't exactly soft ground. You go into, you hit a massive root just under the soil, a massive rock just under the soil, and it just takes it. I mean, this machine is 200 pounds, and it's just putting all the weight down into the ground. It's a tank,
Yeah.
and I've been very pleased with it. So much so that I was like, you guys got to try this.
So Sean, good stuff. Bluebird aerator, $5,000. That's what I heard. What else is on your list?
I got 2 other things on here. One of them real quick is just the Toro E-Time Master. I know William's got one of those. Looking for a larger mower. Basically, we want to replace. I want to get away from riding mowers, so want to move away from the mean green, and just kind of simplify things. This year out in the field, for some of our larger properties, I have been a bottleneck in our company. I'm the only person that I want riding on the mean green mower. Ours has been it's been through some shit, and it's it's not that I don't trust someone else to use the mower. It's that I don't trust the mower under someone else's use. No, it's we got some braking issues. We got some of the safety stuff's been bypassed over the years here. So want to get that out of the field. It's kind of a liability waiting to happen. And so looking for a larger mower that we can doesn't require a whole lot of training. We can put anybody on. Getting a 30-inch mower is a big piece for us. And then the other one, we've kind of talked about it in the past, but while I was down at Equip, I spent a lot of time looking at software. And so one of the biggest investments we're going to be making for the upcoming season is switching over to a new CRM, and either getting a CRM that already has quoting software built into it, or getting that quoting software as an add-on service. There's I'm not 100% set yet on which software companies we're going to be going to. I'm meeting with my office manager here over the next couple of weeks and doing some demos with her to really specifically dial in on what combination we're going to be, or what all-in-one platform we're going for. But just looking for some ways to create some efficiencies on the back ends, getting quotes out faster, not spending as much human time on measuring out square footage and things like that. And so just trying to streamline our quoting processes in the spring. And now that we've got marketing pretty well ramped up, and our quotes have continued to come in all season at a pretty rapid pace. And so I just know when we get into spring rush, it's going to be a whirlwind next year. And so just making sure we're prepared for it and able to handle it.
Yeah, I like it. All good choices. Does anybody have any questions for Sean before we roll on to William?
I want to know why he holding out on what software he's looking at.
We're talking to a couple different spots. I think as far like the leaders right now in our minds, Copilot, we're definitely looking at that pretty heavily. The one concern there is just it is still very new. I know they're working out a lot of bugs out, and so trying to decide if we want to be along for the bugs or wait until until they get that ironed out. The other company that we talked to for a good while down at Equip was Real Green, and they've got a lot of stuff built in. It is kind of I know Jarmar, I think you talked to them last year too, and I think your issue is kind of they're kind of walled off, right? They want to have everything internal, but from what I saw, I mean, they've got everything that we need already built into the software and more. So being able to have quotes lead directly into the platform, have automation measure things out, and if we can have our matrix really dialed in for pricing and just have it feed right through there, I think that could streamline things in a big way. They had a lot of stuff built in there as well for like upselling and really trying to just constantly being able to push additional services and some unique ways that you can present some of those upsells to customers as well that just feel very natural, and get a couple of different touch points with people on that. I was pretty impressed with what they had to present. There was another company that Jake turned me on to down there. It's called SatQuote. They do a lot of automation as far as measuring out the properties as well. And then one of the things that was really cool about them, it's not live yet, but we were talking to one of the engineers over there, and they were showing us some of the routing software that they've been using on their back end with internally, and then with a couple of like kind of key customers in a different field, and realizing that there are a lot of opportunities for our industry to be able to use those same features in a pretty big way. Just really automating the scheduling piece of things, using a lot of AI and mapping software, and just being able to completely automate the scheduling process. As we're adding more and more crews now out in the field, that's become a bigger bottleneck in our business currently with we're using Jobber, and there's really no way to efficiently optimize routes right now with that software. So that's a big pain point for us that we're trying to solve.
It's good stuff. Service Autopilot's really good at route scheduling, mapping. They're kind of like one of the leaders. We could talk about it another time, but I know Jarmar and I are just over the moon about Aspire. Neither one of us are on Aspire right now, but it seems to be the ultimate solution. The price point's obviously high, which is a little bit of a deterrent for us as far as where we are in our business right now. William, let's move on to you, bud. What do you got on your radar? What's on your list?
So I'm sure you've got a list of 20 or 30 as you're always keeping tabs on it. So I'm going to be excited to hear yours. But I think ours are two main things. One is upgrading our charging setups. I think I mentioned on the last one, and hopefully be able to steal some time once I've got it, probably in the next week or two. Right, we actually have built our own charging systems that we're going to productize and bring to market, and we've got the first two versions. The beta versions went in the vans last week to be able to give us kind of a cleaner, more efficient way to do that, and also the versatility to continue to test different pieces of equipment versus, and I'm sure they're going to be great, but versus going all in on one particular manufacturer and the charging systems that they've announced, which aren't yet available, and I think will be available soon for some of them. But for us, number one is the charging setups, right? Getting them upgraded, taking what we've learned, building our own with off the shelf parts, and actually making something that works for our business, and then hopefully for a lot of other folks as well. Number two is lighter and smaller mowers. The 30 Toro, Sean, you mentioned it, has actually been a good one for us. Everything I think has its pros and cons, but the weight and the weight distribution, even though on the scale it matches some of the other manufacturers' 30-inch mowers that are out there, our guys are able to just use it pretty efficiently. Right? We still got to deal with gates. We still have to get into backyards. We're still doing quarter acre, eighth acre properties. And even the 36 Greenworks Optimus, while a great mower and price point is awesome, it's heavy, right? It's really heavy. Our guys are having some troubles here at the end of the year with some of the morning dew and the lawn not being as stable, kind of doing the donuts and the swirl marks, even if they're taking their times. And the hydros are very responsive. We've got an old CZ48. It's actually a little bit smoother than I think this 36 is. So while in general a good mower, and I think the ETO and some of the add-ons and the capability of having a big battery, almost like a multi-force type tool, I think this 36 will work for us to be able to get what I would say are relatively cheaper, more efficient mowers for our setup. I think that's the biggest thing. So I won't necessarily go so far as to say standardize across our 3-4 fleets that are in the field, but testing those lighter, smaller mowers. That could be the Ryobi joystick that's got the integrated bagger in the back of it to get through the gates and still do it and ease up on our guys, or maybe we double down and try another one of these 30s. But for us, it's the charging system and getting that dialed in and actually bringing that to market and getting y'all's feedback. And I think that's going to be a big one for us. And then getting mowers that actually fit the lawns that we're doing instead of trying to put these behemoths on lawns that don't really need it.
Yeah, I think we've gone through that as well. We often find us leaving the bigger zero turn mowers in the shop, not having to mess around with hooking up a trailer and dropping the gate and, the mower off, and can I get through the back and can I not? And, maybe from a software perspective, if we had a little bit more forethought to schedule a little bit better, we could take more advantage of it. I think that's a learning opportunity for us as a company. It seems like all of us were, very excited about all these new products and the zero turn. And, these were all kind of brand new, shiny objects for us. And we all wanted to have one. But just as soon as we all got one, we're like, I don't know, maybe does this really benefit my business? Because it's one of those only time will tell things, right?
Well, yeah, and you know what I'm really missing though, which I'm surprised, and I heard a little bit of it as a quip, and I think we talked about it last time, but why Mean Green went away from the Revolt, the walk behind mower, and why no one else has announced a replacement with something like that kind of horsepower. I mean, we go out and even driving around or seeing a lot of the rigs, every one of them has a 36 or a 48 stander on it. Here in the DC Metro, they love to use the culverts to be able to do a lot of the drainage systems. It's not just flat, wide open land. So to be able to have something that can actually take a hill and not stand-ons are great, don't get me wrong, and you can get on and off and it's versatile, but to be able to have a walk behind that you can actually put into a hill, put on a slope, get behind a gate, do all those things. When I started my gasoline lawnmower business the first time around, I had that for about 9 years before I sold it, did something else, and kind of got back into it on the electric side. All we had were walk behinds, right? Even the Craftsman and now DeWalt and Cub Cadet 33-inch mower was so lightweight but had a strong enough motor on it that could actually do a little something. So I think this lighter, smaller mower thing, I don't know if we're unique in kind of the residential lawns where it kind of meets that need for us more. And these big commercial guys just don't care. They're doing parking lots and big acre properties and on 50 acres at a time and just got to
Mhm.
roll. But for our setups and for the customers we need, I mean, lighter, smaller mowers is that are worth it, right? Like the Toro 30 is a staple, right? They didn't
Yeah.
mess that thing up. They just put an electric motor on it, kept the balance the same, and that thing's a workhorse. I think that type of thinking into the 36 and 48 walk behinds, I think is needed. Again, I'm sure someone ran the statistics as to why they haven't done it yet, or maybe it's coming, but let this be my prediction that someone needs to do that here soon.
Mhm.
I actually had a pretty long conversation with one of the guys over at John Deere at a quip about kind of on this topic, and really just trying to find the use the highest volume use case for these electric mowers, right? Like we're all in. That's all we want is electric mowers, but they've got to look at this broader audience and trying to assess where the market is. He was talking about I don't know if we want to say specific brands. I'm not trying to bash anybody or anything like that, but just what he told me was that they've been talking to dealers about the grandstand from Toro and how they're basically they're just sitting because they're $40,000 mowers. The price points on some of these larger electric mowers are just kind of outrageous. And how can you purchase something like that and make it profitable? They're worried about who's going to buy it, and then they're also worried about, for the person that does buy it, how are they going to make a profit off of it? Their targets right now are like you said, these big companies mowing 50, 60 acres at a time. The guys are just going to be running it all day, and until there's more widespread adoption, whether it's by choice or by legislation, it's pretty tough for them to make the investment of all the stuff behind the scenes, the R&D, to produce these smaller units for a more diversified need out in the residential space.
And Sandy, you've got the Greenworks standard, so that's one of the bigger mowers. What are your thoughts as far as what William's saying compared to what you're working with?
Sure. So, I mean, I haven't noticed much of an issue with the weight because most of my lawns are St. Augustine, so it's pretty thick. So they're pretty quick to bounce. Once we go over it, now when things are getting a bit colder in some spots, some of the grasses will lighten up a little bit. So I do have to be a little bit more careful because I did notice that with the 48 last year, where it can tear up a bit easier than in the growing season. But even then, I mean, it bounces up pretty quickly. So as long as I've got control of my turns, I'm okay. But I think I'm just a product of my environment in that case. I guess I just have an opportunity where it's not going to affect me as much as it will for the cool season grasses, where the soil types may affect that a lot more, or the weight of the mowers may affect it a lot more.
Okay. And so William's saying that, and if I'm not mistaken, William, you're kind of saying that 30-inch or less is the ideal size mower for you. Does that sound accurate?
I mean, that's a bit of what we're facing for the backyards. Even 36 is fine. Like we can fit into the gates. We have that 30-inch Greenworks as well, and like I said, that's just the issue we've been facing. To be honest, a 48 walk behind would be 42-inch walk behind would be the best thing ever. I would put that because most of the time and then right, maybe a 30 to handle some of the gates or something like that. They can even a 36 and a 48, and we could do most of everything. Like we see some of these guys roll up with 60-inch Exmark Laser Z's and it make 4 passes, and that's fine. Like the lawn looks cool, it stripes nice, and I get it, and it's durable enough to be able to support it. But that is a bit of the problem when you look at these 36s, the weight and the distribution. When you make it that compact and then you're standing on it, 1,100, 1,600 pounds is tough to be able to do. If I had a good walk behind, 42, 48-inch walk behind, and then 33, 36-inch something to be able to do the backyards for what we have. 33, 36, I could take it or leave it if it has enough weight to pull a sulky or not. I mean, the 36X marks were great, the gassers that can do that. But for us, small footprint on those lawns. Now, the problem is going to be is if those are $30,000, the economics don't make sense for the residential landscape operation that we know margins can sometimes get eaten away on maintenance, and you got to focus on design build and some of the other components. So let's be honest about where the profits come from versus what maintenance is there for. Is it there to make a profit? Is it there to keep your team busy? Is it there to keep your customers happy and be a lead generation source because you're showing up at their house every week? You've got a reason to bug them 3 times a week that's not being annoying, to be able to sell other services into them. So I think if we answer the question of what is that maintenance business giving you as a function of your overall business goals, that's the only thing you're doing, or that's just a way to grow some of the other components, will I think dictate what you're willing to spend on equipment, because it's always going to change. There's always going to be something new. But that more feels like, I guess, a philosophical business opinion than it's truly where we're investing our time. So I guess that's where I'm spending my time, is to thinking, right? Thinking about a lot of how do we do that? What are we really trying to do with this piece? And how's that going to influence SUST as an overall business going into 2024?
It seems like a lot of the big players that are here in Dallas have confessed to the fact that their maintenance crews are nothing more than a billboard for their design, install, and side of their business. That seems to
Man,
be
I hate
kind of
that. I don't mow for free.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
if I'm out there doing it, I'm getting margin off of that.
yeah, I mean, we're getting margin. The question, I guess the question remains, how much margin? Because we all know that the maintenance side of the business is definitely a slimmer margin than what the landscape side of it is.
I think it doesn't always have to be. It's traditionally been that way, but it also, you kind of have to decide again, what's the goal of the business? A lot of the times I bet they're running it that way because that's how they want to run their business, and they're nervous. It's like inertia sometimes can be one of the biggest things that are holding you back in the business. We talked about this quite a few times on a few different podcasts of firing customers, right? Inertia and having that money coming in, you're afraid to push it back. Inertia of having these customers already, you're afraid to raise prices, which might lose some, but you're really going to become more profitable in doing so. So, Sean, I'm going to shut up and let you go, so don't steal as much of your thunder. But I agree. I think a lot of people do operate that way, but I don't know. What do you got, Sean?
No, I mean, I try to, we're pricing profit into everything that we do on our business. On the landscaping side of things, the design and build, we probably should be higher on that, pushing for more profitability. But yeah, I mean, we're trying to make the margin that we need on the mowing. I mean, that's the, and again, I guess it's, like you said, the philosophy of your business and what you're trying to build around. But mowing's about 60% of our business. I like the recurring revenue. It's like mass mowing as a service instead of SaaS.
Good one.
we price our mowing where it needs to be to be profitable for us. We can run the business off of that. That's our primary driver, and the rest of it is trying to get chunks here and there to take that additional profit to reinvest into more mowing.
Well, I think if that's the goal, ultimately, having been, in both worlds, and this year when we came into it, we said we were going to do a lot more mowing. We got reeled right into the landscaping side again. I think that was to bring us capital fuel to continue to grow the recurring subscription side of our business. I would submit to you that if that is the ultimate goal for you, then you need to be looking at new software before you look at anything else, because it is a logistics game. We all know that. On the maintenance side, it is all about logistics and route density and route planning and management. That is how you can, in my opinion, how you can squeeze more margin out of your business. Your maintenance business is by having top-notch logistics. I would keep
100%.
exploring on that software side. That's my personal opinion, unless anybody else disagrees. Dan, What do you got on your hit list, buddy?
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be buying much of anything. I think we will be investing a lot of time in systemizing. We already started, but I think as the season slows down a little bit, systemizing and having goals in place to be better prepared for our first month of the year starting next year, and then making sure we have things in place, because I think next year we have like one big trip coming up, which will take both of us out of the business for a while. So we need to have systems in place to make sure the company functions without us while we're gone. And
Okay.
so that's something that I'm going to be working on quite heavily on, and creating a system and having a system for typically mowing, and trying to have Ronnie come up with a run for the landscape system. And then that way we can kind of have those two systems running at the same time and just getting it all set up. I mean, you guys seen our app, where we've been working with that quite a bit. And I think the ones that were at the Equip kind of saw that. We've been working with that, getting the app set up where we can do quotes on the app, just getting a little bit faster on that, tightening that up. Having systems in place where when a quote comes in, I get a ding, a scorecard if I don't respond in like 5-10 minutes. It starts to notify the next person. Having automations in that stream to get better on that, because that's something we lack in now. Sometimes the estimate comes in and nobody knows who's responsible to do it. So that's something we got to just tighten up and make sure we're quick. Because I believe being at the expo or the summit, it was one of the things they pushed quite a bit too. Is just try to get the speed to close, or speed to that response, and really just get that first person to talk to you, and then you start talking to them, and it's closing that a lot quicker, and having that transition smooth, where we got automation dinging me and Ronnie saying, hey, these people are not performing what they're supposed to be doing, and then holding those people accountable to get those quotes out as fast as possible. But that's really what it is, systemization for us to be out of the business for a while next year. As you guys all know, Ronnie has a wedding, so we got to get ready for that.
You know what? I like that. So not really looking at any equipment, anything like that, just working on the processes.
Yeah, so that's what we figured. I mean, we figured we'll try to push growth this year a little bit more, and then we have a little piggy bank there that's allowing us to push forward to next year, and then really push, still try to push the growth next year. If we have to buy vehicles, we'll buy a vehicle and we'll retrofit it with all the stuff that we have. But at the same time, it's going to be pushed to happen, but we need to have systems in place between now and March. And I want to be doing that and taking ownership on that, and just making sure we have that system in place to be able to freely go out and not be on our phones and working at 10 o'clock at night while I'm playing pool, and I have to send out an estimate like some other people. That's just what I want to make sure we're not doing, and enjoying the moment.
That sounds crazy.
I know, it's crazy. I don't know who would do that, but really enjoying the moments while we're there and not really having to worry about it.
Sure.
Like, if the business can't run without you, you just built yourself a job. So let's make sure we're also working on systemizing our business. And that's something that I'm going to try to be focusing from now to March. And then from March, debugging until September or before September. But it's not easy to build. I'm sure it's going to take a while and a lot of headaches.
Good stuff. I love it, man. I love it. Gerhart, how about you? What's on your radar?
I just want to say I also love that what he's investing in is the business. So, I mean, that's a massive investment. So on our side, definitely looking at a new CRM, most likely Copilot. But that's number one, switching CRMs. Number two is probably another 42-inch. That's kind of up in the air between Ryobi. What I like about them is the ability to be able to switch to that lithium iron phosphate for that all-day runtime. So then that lowers your battery bank need because you only need to charge the string trimmer and blower batteries. Or the new Toro, I think it's the time cutter, 42-inch. Again, I really agree with William there. 42-inch stand behind, or I'm sorry, walk behind is that'd be massive. We kind of have very similar markets as far as the turf that we are mowing. Cool season, clay, hills. In other words, the worst. It sucks. So we need high performing mowers. The Ego Z6, I'm honestly surprised it's still going really strong. We're coming up on 350 hours on that thing, but I'd say I'd noticed a little difference. But the biggest thing is that, even from the beginning, you have to double and triple cut lawns. And this is every week. It's cool. It's cool season. It's getting cooler now. The turf has slowed down, but I'm still having to double cut most lawns. It's very, very frustrating. So it's between the Ryobi, Toro, and I'm would really love to demo that John Deere. So that's kind of a all day runtime solo operator thing as well. They claim about 3 hours of runtime. It's got onboard charging, so you just plug an extension cord into it. That's about the amount of time that I spend on the Z6 per day solo operator. So I think between running that thing and then plugging it in between the stops, that'd probably be a viable solution for us.
I just want to jump in real quick. I would say, depending on where you want to go with your company, I'd be careful with that. It may be a good fit for you next year, but as you grow and you grow out of solo operator, if you're sticking with a one man crew, possibly, but if you do go to 2-man crews, that is going to become a bottleneck for you because you can't
For
swap
sure.
that battery. It's an onboard battery that you can't. The only way to charge it is just plug it in directly.
I
Right.
agree with Sean.
Right. And I'm fully aware of that. Which is why I really just plan to stick on the 1-man crews. I think a 42.
But just to make just to really reiterate, 1-man crew of Gerhart is not the same 1-man crew of your employee.
Right.
They might use it a lot harder than you would, or vice versa. So there's something to think about. You don't want to be tied down to like just 3 hours or something like that, and then they have to go home early or something.
Valid points. Very valid points. That's why I would really love to demo one. I'm also, the fact that, it's a John Deere and, that name alone, I really shouldn't have any problems with cut quality. I would hope.
Always be careful on just buying name. That's all I have. That's why I'm a comment.
Right. That's why I like to demo everything. I demoed the Greenworks 42 last year. Was not very happy with that. I'm trying to get demo the Ryobi 42 because I'd love to swap that like Michael did with his 30s. But I think Toro might be the choice because it's a Toro. Our Toro mowers have been very, very, very good. It's a one pass cut. Today going out with all the leaves is literally just eating them alive. Like it was fantastic. That super recycler, it's remarkable. So
It's a good unit.
Oh
we like the super recycler. That thing it's bomb.
Have you pulled the plug out of it and opened up the back to put on the bagger while it's running?
Not while it's running, but yes. The guy's been using the bagger quite a bit lately.
That thing puts out a lot of force. It's a jet stream coming out the back there.
Really?
Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a great mower. Gerhart, thank you. Jarmar, what do you guys got going on down there in Houston, Texas?
Oh man, we just finishing out the year. getting ready for the year end. January 15th is not December 31st. We're gonna run through that finish line. As far as buying stuff, I think we talked about it before. That's kind of next year. I got van number 3 that's kind of on the way. But really, we're looking at OSO is what we've been running with all year, and they're getting rid of their lease program, and they're going to go towards just kind of buying their 21-inch outright.
Yeah.
And but also Ego just announced this 22-inch that has a insanely powerful motor. And so we got to make a decision. We're probably going to make a decision on one of those two to figure
Yeah.
out which one we're going to roll with for the season. And for the most part, we're going to stick with that. Our Z6 is still rolling. I'd like to kind of eliminate even its use altogether. But I probably won't, because we'll likely pick up this private school here. So that's, for the most part, that's basically what we're looking at. I'm also excited about Ego's new commercial line, their carbon fiber, string trimmer, pole saw,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
We like those a lot. That string trimmer they got coming out is like 17.5-inch cut swath. And yeah, you can cut a lot of make a lot of ground with that right there. So and then also, we talked about it before, we're all currently on Jobber, and likely also going to switch over to Copilot in December. So that's basically what we're looking at. We're not looking to buy a whole lot of new stuff this next year. We really want to really knock down our asset utilization. I'm actually considering going from a 4-day work week to having at least somebody on shift 6 days a week next year, to really push our equipment, really get the money out of these out of the assets that we do have, and really lower our per man hour need to become extremely profitable. We're barely profitable now. That's kind of on purpose. We're in growth mode, but if we can add 50% more production days per week, we could we could cha-ching, basically.
Hey, I want to touch on that real quick. That's interesting, though, going to a flex crew and just getting more out of the equipment. Nervous the way this stuff holds up, how it'll handle 6 days a week, but would definitely be a better utilization of assets.
Yeah, so the thought process, if you look at it, 4 days a week right now, we add 2 days of production, right? I mean, you could theoretically add 50% more production per week.
Yeah.
With the same exact equipment. You lower your per hour operating cost for every piece of equipment. With us in the battery game, our batteries only have 1 year, 2-year warranties. Makita, I think 3-year warranties. As long as we can get our stuff serviced. But that's kind of game plan for me moving forward, particularly when my setups are expensive. With these vans, getting them wrapped, our pricing is, our closing ratio is not as high as other people. We deliver a different type of service.
Yeah.
We are looking into going a little bit faster with our mowing estimates, especially as we scale and we start to load up that many. But really, if I could add more manpower and add more production with the same equipment, it would do wonders. Even if we only had one person come in on, say, a Monday, and then one person come in on a Wednesday, or we swipe them out, right?
Yeah.
Do one crew goes from Monday through Thursday, then maybe a small crew on Wednesday, then Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There's different combinations that we'll play with.
Yeah, I a lot of the times in manufacturing, they run it like that. They'll run Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then that other person will come in a little bit part-time Wednesday to help out, and then they'll run all the way until Saturday, and they'll get those 6-7 days run on that equipment, 10-hour a day, 12-hour days, depending on what you can do at that specific spot. But yeah, it works out for equipment utilization. When you write those capital expenditure reports, you have to come up with ideas on how to get that money back for those companies, and that's somehow some of the ways they do it to utilize it the most.
Yeah, because I tell you, it boils my grits when I go into the shop to clean up, get ready for the week on a Monday, and them vans are sitting there
Yeah.
Yeah, how much money
not making no
how
money,
much money is just sitting there,
right?
right?
It's just they ain't making no money,
Not making money.
right?
Uh-huh.
We're
You
always
know,
we're
they
always
just
out on Mondays, but I get nervous about if we get trouble with weather, um, having the backup, the extra time there. But like I said, we've never gone out on Saturday or Sunday with the mowing crew. Landscaping, like, stuff gets pushed around, but mowing, we're always able to maintain that in no later than Friday.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time
Yeah.
any of us, we work pretty much work a full crew 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. About 50
Yeah.
hours is about our average work week for us. We all want to graduate to that level where we have multiple crews running who are doing multiple things, working 5 days a week. I think ultimately, like Jarmar said, I mean, when the van's sitting there on Monday and it's just sitting there parked and not working and making money, it drives you nuts as a business owner, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, enough about us, man. What about you? What do you look? I know you got your eyes on some stuff.
You know, our list is actually a little bit, I mean, our near term list is shorter. I'll get to us in a second. I did want to connect with Sandy. Are you still there with us?
Sandy already has everything.
Yeah.
According to Gerhart, yes.
Sandy, what's on your radar, bud?
Oh, mine's pretty simple. You know, this is going to be, well, this is my official first full year here in Tampa. So just really digging in and kind of setting my foothold. And, you know, I like the area that I'm in. I like the neighborhoods that I'm working in. So just growing the business slowly. So there's two things that I want to do, and may not be in the following months, but maybe a little bit more into the following year, is get a dedicated mowing truck and outfit that truck, which kind of leads into my second thing, with new outdoor power equipment, specifically Makita OPE.
Okay.
We actually spent a couple days over with the Makita team, training and getting to know a little bit about their company and what they have to offer when it comes to outdoor power equipment. And me not being a user or really not knowing anything about Makita, I was quite impressed with my experience, and enough to where I'm willing to commit and outfit that brand new truck with all the OPE from Makita specifically. So I know Electrawn was out there with us too, so maybe Dan can tell us a little bit more about his experience, and because I know they've been using Makita for quite a while as well.
Yeah, we have. I think the thing that I like the most about the Makita is their warranty. It's by far the best that I've dealt with. Obviously, I've dealt with Eagle and Mean Green as the other two companies for warranties. But when I have an issue with Makita, I just go and hand it over to our dealer, and they'll take it and they'll send it to their facility, get it repaired, and send it back to us. And normally, right now, it's been taking a few weeks. Obviously, that's not fast, but they're trying to promise a 3 to 4 day turnaround from consumer back to your hands. The reason they're trying to do this is because they're where we went to their facility in Georgia. They have their repair center there, and you send the tool in. They'll give you a shipping label. You just ship it in the mail, free of charge. They pay for the shipping. They repair it. They'll send it back to you. Um, that's one of the things that I've liked about them so much, and also the versatility of their battery, and having it for since 2020. We've had one of the 10 batteries fail.
Wow.
Right. So,
Yeah.
and we cycle these batteries like hotcakes, and we keep them in the sun.
Uh-huh.
There's no babying these batteries, put them in coolers or put them inside the truck, or whatever. They're out in the elements, and we've had 1 out of 10, and we probably cycle them, which they actually told us that they might come over and try to count the cycles for us or check our batteries to see how many cycles we actually done on them.
Yeah.
But they've been really good. Their support's been really good. We got Steve and Henry from them, so it's been very easy to talk to them. And that's one thing we stress. I think we've stressed in this podcast is find a dealer and a company that's willing to work with you direct. And that's what they've been doing since day one. They gave us the tools. Obviously, they don't like giving things away. They're very stringent about that. But
Yeah.
once you get sometimes they'll give you a demo, you sign out for it, and you start using the equipment. It's everything we need. And I don't need crazy numbers. I just need something that works. And it works every time. Not when we had to drop it off a ledge, 4 feet ledge with the, button facing down and then press it again and it starts to work. Nothing like that. We need something that works every time. And that's why I like Makita. And that's what they've been doing to us for the last 3 years. So,
yeah.
I mean, I probably haven't expressed it enough here, but it's something that I think when you guys are here, you'll see the equipment is beat up. No one takes care of it.
No, God, no. Why would they?
Yeah, and I think with the point that Dan just made, again, with me coming from, I guess, looking from the outside in and not having any experience at all with the tools, seeing how they work and how they function and how they treat their people. I mean, half of the folks that we worked with and that we were introduced to, they're 10 plus years into this company, and they're really dedicated. They're well taken care of. So it's just good to see. A lot of the times you don't get to see behind the curtain, even for most companies that we may work with or that we prefer to work with. So it's just nice to see that and again understand what they stand for. I mean, we went pretty deep. We even broke down batteries to see how their technology compares to others. So it was just really insightful. And again, it makes my decision a little easier when I say, hey, I'm going to try them out for the next round. So I really appreciated that. But overall, great experience. And then, of course, comparing that to the experiences that Gerhart has shared because he uses Makita as well. And then, of course, the Electrawn boys as well. So definitely something you guys should check out for sure. And hopefully something we can continue to share in the future as well here.
Nothing to hate on about Makita. I don't own any of their OPE, but
so I did give him your name, by the way, so that you get somebody calling you and Jarmar. Because I'm like, if you want 2 people that will beat up your product, don't give it to Sean. All right.
Yeah.
Don't give it to Sean. Give it to Steven and Jarmar.
Yeah, we'll tear that stuff up for him. No problem. I can promise you that. The one thing I do love though,
I can tear some stuff up. Hold on.
Whoa, we didn't want to know all that.
Yeah. Now he's arguing that he can tear something up.
Well, he was just upset about tearing up yards. Now he's saying he wants to tear it up.
Yeah. I'll put any one of my guys on any piece of machinery that we have, and they will drive it into fences and all that, and they will learn the school of hard knocks. These guys have crashed that Z, that 42-inch multiple times. I mean, I've had phone calls. Your guys backed into the fence, and yes, they did, and they'll send a picture.
I forgot.
Mean Green went through a neighbor's front gate like a bowling ball last year.
Wow. Yeah,
this the guy didn't have the parking brake on.
That's part of the job, man. That's what happens. Dan?
I forgot to mention real quick. They also claim that they're pretty liberal on the dates of your warranty. So
somewhere in the range of 6 months.
Yeah. So
got it. FYI. So this is 10 years plus or minus 6 months. Is that what you're saying?
So it is a 3-year, no hours, no cycle counts, no nothing. They don't make a perfect tool. I don't think anybody makes a perfect tool.
I mean, within 3 years, they're pretty stout. I mean, I'm on 2 years with my string trimmer, and
yeah, we broke that string trimmer once already. That same one you have, so actually twice, but they've gotten it back to us very quickly. So it's not been a hurdle for us. So it's not like we've had in the past experience where we break a weed eater, we call and they're like, "Oh, where's your receipt?"
Yeah.
You did it between 90 days. Oh, you only get 12 months warranty. Sorry, it's already 2 months over. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that was all of us 3 years ago trying to take our stuff back to Lowe's. and Home
So
Depot.
yeah, so they did a really good job. They a lot of things. We can maybe have a whole podcast episode about what we saw and stuff like that. Bring
We will.
Ronnie in and then go through there.
Yeah, we totally will. I've got an old Makita drill. It's a 14, I think it's a 14.4 volt, old school. I think I've had this drill for 10 years.
Damn.
Absolute workhorse. 2 batteries, both battery. I mean, I've beat the hell out of this thing
Almost as
too.
old as Ronnie.
Yes, almost as old as Ronnie.
So how many of you guys have used Makita?
OPE,
guy.
none.
Not OPE.
So why have you bought Makita in the past? Just interested.
It's just so good.
Like
Like
on the shelf.
my best friend has it, and he's dropped his drill in a bucket of concrete. I mean, it got coated in concrete, and he just cleaned it up, and he
Yeah.
said it worked better.
Yeah.
He cleaned it up, and he actually blew some dust out of there that was previous, and it's been working better. So
Yeah.
it's just remarkable equipment. I mean, it's really nice stuff.
Yeah. It absolutely is. I mean, and they've got a great name behind them, right? And it's exciting to see that there's, you know, they're in this game and you guys are out there having the level of success that you're having with them. I will point out, in my opinion, you brought up a very important point earlier, and that is the relationship with your dealer. On that level, we have that same relationship with Steel, where they do get demo equipment in our hands. They do get prototype equipment in our hands. If we've got an issue with something that we have, we immediately get a replacement for anything that might be broken. We've had some things that have broken, just like all of us have, and it's just as simple to us as a phone call or a text to the guys up at Steel Blue Mountain Equipment up in McKinney, Texas, just north of us. Well, we went through a very similar kind of experience that you went through. When you went to Makita, we went to Steel. We went up to their, their place, their new 40 or 50,000 square foot facility that they have. It's more or less a fulfillment facility, but they are the steel distributor for pretty much all of the Southwest region. And it's just, it's fascinating. And to have that relationship with those guys, you can't put a price tag on that and the level of service that you get. And I know that, Jarmar has that same relationship with the guys at Ego, and he also has that relationship with Oso. Obviously it's cool to watch how far along we've come in our business, where we're not worried about our 90-day warranty exchange at Lowe's. Thanks, guys. I will touch on what we are looking at, Jarmar. Circle back around on your question. We've got a laundry list of things that we would like to have near term. Some of the things that we have identified going through our numbers. We've identified a couple key points in our business where we are more profitable than we thought we were. And we've spotted some opportunity in our business to elevate that particular side of our business and generate more cash flow for our company so we can continue to grow. One of those things that we found very interesting, that we do very, very well, we do very, very quickly, and we have great margins, is shrub cleanups. What we have with our crews, with our mow crews, everybody's got, your basic hand tools that are needed to do a shrub cleanup. And most of these shrub cleanups that we do, we can typically knock them all out. And it takes no more than 30 minutes to do a shrub cleanup whenever a crew's on a property. And we can typically make, 120, 150 bucks on a shrub cleanup. And we started looking at our numbers a few weeks ago and realized that that is one of the most profitable things on the maintenance side of our business. And that's what we can use to elevate the maintenance side of our business. Now, fast forward, we got a couple of demo tools from Steel that were absolutely game-changing tools for us to go out and do these shrub cleanups. Basically, before, we had our landscape crew going out and doing a shrub cleanup, and then the mow crew would come up behind them, and on a later visit in the same day, but later in the day, and handle all kind of like they'd mow the lawn and do the fine cleanup of the leaves and stuff that was, got left behind from the maintenance crew. now what we have done is we have integrated our shrub cleanup with our maintenance crew. And these guys are knocking this stuff out now that we've got these additional hand tools. We've got a couple different pole saws. We've got a couple of different, the hedge trimmers with the extension, with the 45, the angle extension on it and everything. And these guys are going through and they're just blazing through these shrub cleanups. And the margins are just absolutely astounding for us. So I'm like, well, hold on a second now. You can only do so much with a mower, right? But whenever you have all of these other little ancillary services, if you can optimize your efficiency while you're on the site, you can be so much more profitable. To answer your question, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at the shrub cleanup side of our business because we've got 280 properties that we're servicing. Every one of them needs shrub cleanups. We're not really marketing heavy toward the shrub cleanup. And that's primarily because we just didn't think we had the time to do it. And now that we know we can go out and knock this stuff out in 20, 25 minutes and reel in an extra $90 to $100 per visit, it makes absolute sense for us to do that. So that's what we're looking at. The hand tools, that's going to be a big investment of ours. The mowers, obviously, we're all about the mowers. We got to have the mowers. It's a necessity. But the hand tools we're looking at. And then lastly is we want to put another vehicle in the field in the spring. And I'm following your lead on this, Jarmar. We have not done this yet. We're going to run a 48 volt setup going into the spring. And that's kind of where we're at. So we want to make sure we get another van.
Best
Yeah.
decision ever. Best decision.
I like
ever.
it.
I think
Let's
so
go.
too. And with everything, obviously lithium batteries have gotten a lot more affordable now. Granted, the price does kind of ebb and flow, but
You guys have the best guy down the street from you.
yeah,
Signature Solar.
yeah, Signature Solar over in
Yeah.
just outside of Mineola, East Texas, I
Yeah.
believe.
5 kilowatts for $1,200. That's hard to
Yeah,
do, buddy.
exactly. So, and just
Hard to
building out another van for us. We've got the capacity. We
So
do.
you're saying I'm coming to Dallas soon.
Sure. Come on, man. Don't wait until we get the van to do it. You can come right now. So, yeah.
No,
so
man,
that's what
I like all of that. And we just to kind of since we're on it, that's what we do with our shrub cleaning.
yeah.
But we included in our subscription. I think the other thing I told you I really love is our bed weeding. That takes no equipment whatsoever. Lowe's bucket that has the state of Texas flag on it because we're gonna represent, and just some knuckles, and we go in there and we weed beds and then spray the rest with maybe some vinegar or something like that. But we'd love to do that. And our mowing guys, that's what they do on their visits. And the reason why I like it is because we can our maintenance routes can be more predictable.
Yes.
And we include that in like our subscription. So instead of doing it once every quarter or something like that, it's every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's not that much overgrowth. So they're knocking them out even faster.
Yes.
And
I
so
agree.
there's not a lot of debris.
Mhm.
I think that's something I might be trying to push next year as well, as in trying to take out the shrubbing off the current subscription and adding it as an extra line item.
Yeah.
And same thing with weed removal, hand pulling implant beds, and having that as a line item, as a subscription base once a month or once every 2 weeks in the growth season, or just keep it as an as needed basis, but have it in the background where I know we're going to be doing it every week in the summer. That way the guys they can still hit P for P, even though they're just, pulling weeds instead of trying to mow or whatever.
Yeah.
And we're already kind of long on this episode, so maybe we can hash this out after the episode here. Maybe we can do another one on it. But yeah, I like it. I like everything you just said. 48 volt shrub trimming. I love it.
Yep. Just drive more revenue, right? That's what we need to do to just continue to grow, every one of us. All right, boys. Well, I appreciate your time tonight. You guys have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you soon. It's Electric Lawn Talk.
Thanks for listening to Electric Lawn Talk. Don't miss the next episode. Be sure to subscribe, and while you're at it, help spread the word by leaving a rating and review.